7-year-old kids, 8-year-old kids, and I often will ask, and I'll put a video in one of these emails or else on the recording. Um, I often ask kids as I go into their classroom or into an assembly, who in here is a bully? And some kids will put up their hands, and some kids don't, and some kids point at other kids, but I usually see a little bit of confusion about it, and not very many people putting up their hands. And then I start asking, who in here has ever hit someone, kicked someone, left someone out, called someone a name, and I start listing all these bully actions. And of course the hands go up and up until everybody's hand in the room is up. And the point is, we all use bully actions. And so if we are going to try to solve bullying just by finding the bullies and getting rid of them or changing them, we're not going to be successful. It's a culture change that's needed. And so it's not scripted, because obviously I never know what's going to happen. But it goes pretty much the same way every time, except this time. And this time, in this grade 2 classroom, I asked who in here is a bully. And this little boy put up his hand and he said, "I'm a bully." And I said, "Well, I bet you've used bully actions, but I don't think that you're a bully," because I'm still trying to keep to my own script, which is also really interesting and speaks to the value of, stopping and listening and not being so involved in our own stories that we don't hear what's going on around us. So anyway, this little boy, I said, "Well, you've probably used some bully actions, but I don't think that you're a bully." And he gets up out of his seat, standing tall, standing strong. The body language was so strong. And he says, "I'm a bully." And I was absolutely taken aback. And a little niggle in the back of my mind is like, oh man, he's really messing with my perceived script of how this is going to be. And we had the conversation right there in sort of a repeated way of me saying, "Well, I don't think you're a bully," and him saying, "Yeah, I'm a bully, absolutely." And so I kind of found a way through that. I can't even tell you how the rest of the scripted part went, but so I find my way through that, and I do this presentation and talk to the teacher about him afterwards. And yeah, absolutely, there's been some difficulties with this child. And then a little bit later, this was a very small community that I was in. So a little bit later, I was at the grocery store picking some things up for supper, and this little girl is in there with her mom, and it's glorious when you've been in a classroom, and you'll get to experience this as a no such thing as a bully facilitator. When you've been in a classroom of little people, they just idolize you when they see you again, and you are some kind of speaking goddess and god. And so she's holding her mom's hand and tugging on her mom's hand and looking up at me with these great big eyes, and she goes, mom, it's the bully lady, it's the bully lady." And her mom turns around and said in just this tremendously aggressive kind of way, "It is so good that you're here, because there's this kid in the school that's such the biggest bully you've ever seen, and my daughter doesn't even want to go to school because of it." And I thought, oh my gosh, how, I don't know that it was the same kid that she was talking about. I don't know that for sure. But let's just assume that it was. How many times over and over has this child been called a bully? And by who? By other kids, by probably his own parents, probably by teachers, and at least saying, "Oh, you don't want to be a bully," which is just another way of saying you are, by community members, by other children's parents. It was really disturbing to me and interesting to me, and the idea that we we mold our kids. We're responsible for molding our kids, for shaping our kids. Some people have more of a skill base in that. Some people have less of a skill base in that. But it's a community effort. It's a community effort. And so this problem is very difficult to solve in a bubble. If I just take this boy and his family and I try to solve their stuff, that's really hard to do. And so we really need to get this language changed to greater communities. We need to make it a common way of talking about bullying, that we just don't walk around calling little kids bullies anymore. What I saw with that boy was him taking absolute power from that word. Yeah, I'm a bully. I'm a bully. And he was proud. It wasn't something to be ashamed of. It was his strength. We've given him that label and given him that word as his strength. And I don't think that we need to do that anymore. I think that we can do differently. I think that we can do better.